Hey, was the baby born while I was on vacation? Just as the funeral was about to start, my daughter's husband, John, called without any knowledge of what had transpired. Yes, she was born safely and is healthy. John probably wasn't expecting to hear his mother-in-law, me, on his wife's phone. He muttered, "Tis, why are you answering?" "Mother-in-law, I want to speak with Emma. Can you pass the phone? I'm sorry. Emma has passed away." "What? What do you mean? Come to the funeral right now." "Haga, you must be joking. That's quite a dark joke, mother-in-law." John laughed off my words, not believing them. "This tragedy is all because of you, John. You will pay for this." I whispered this to myself and hung up. My name is Grace. I'm 58 years old. Until just a few days ago, I had a 30-year-old daughter. Now, she rests silently in a white coffin. I touched my daughter's cold face and whispered, Emma, please, wake up." Tears filled my eyes as I remembered past events. If only I had been there for her sooner. A week ago, I received a call from my distant daughter, Emma. She sounded anxious. "Mom, I think I'm having contractions. I'm so scared." "It's your first time giving birth, so it's natural to be worried." I called the hospital and they told me to come in when the contractions are 10 minutes apart. But I'm alone and scared. "Isn't John's mother living with you?" I was shocked by Emma's reply. Despite knowing her due date, John and his mother had planned an overseas trip. "They'll take care of you at the hospital." They left her while going on their trip. Hearing this, I quickly drove to Emma's house. Emma always seemed so cheerful. It took me 5 hours to reach Emma's home due to traffic. Did Emma manage to get to the hospital on her own? My bad feeling turned out to be true. Emma was lying on the floor, her clothes wet from her water breaking. But what shocked me most was Emma's face. It looked so thin, unlike someone who was about to give birth. I'm shaken by how much Emma has changed. With trembling hands, I managed to call an ambulance. After being rushed to the hospital, Emma regained consciousness. However, due to her condition, a natural birth was deemed too risky, and she was taken to the operating room. "Please, let both the baby and Emma be safe." I fervently prayed outside the operating room. After some time, I heard a baby's cry. A doctor said, "It's a healthy baby girl." I sighed with relief, but the doctor's next words were grave. "Your daughter's health is precarious. She lost a significant amount of blood during the delivery. We're monitoring her, but please be prepared for any outcome." "What? Emma's in danger." Then they brought Emmy out. She looked exhausted with IVs in both arms and an oxygen mask on. Before I could even celebrate my granddaughter's birth, I was burdened with worries about Emma's health. Seeing this, a nurse tried to cheer us up by placing the newborn in Emma's arms. Feeling the baby's touch, Emma opened her eyes and realized the baby was there. Tears streaming down, she whispered, "You were born safely." I'm so relieved. 2 days later, Emma seemed a bit better and could hold a conversation. "Thank you, Mom, for coming all the way. I'm sorry for troubling you." "Don't worry about that. As long as you and the baby are safe, that's all that matters." I had asked John to go to my parents for the delivery, but he refused. I thought at least he'd cancel the trip. Leaving you alone during labor is unfathomable. At this rate, even after discharge, I might not be able to confidently take care of the baby. Emma then asked me a favor with determination in her eyes. By the end of the day, I managed to fulfill her request. Once I updated her, she closed her eyes in relief and drifted back to sleep. I hope she fully recovers, but her pale face worries me. I prayed for Emma's recovery, but contrary to my hopes, her condition deteriorated day by day. I tried calling her husband, John, multiple times, but every call went unanswered. Then, 3 days later, despite relentless efforts, Emma passed away, leaving her newborn baby behind. Her last words to me were heart-wrenching. "Mom, I'm sorry for being such a disappointment. Please take care of my baby." I never expected Emma to utter such words. "Oh, Emma, I'm so sorry I couldn't be with you sooner." Losing my precious daughter, I was consumed by overwhelming grief. However, there was something urgent I had to do. I kept trying to call John, but to no avail. Desperate, I went to Emma's house to search for the hotel number where John and his mother might be staying. In the process, I found a diary Emma had written. What? This is terrible. The diary's contents surpassed all my worst fears. As I read on, I understood why Emma called herself a failure. Anger and sorrow consumed me. I sat down, overwhelmed. How could they do this to Emma? I'll make sure they regret this. With Emma's diary in hand, I was resolute. A few days later, an oblivious John called Emma's number. "Hey, was the baby born while I was on vacation?" "Yes, the baby was born healthy." This feels off. This is Emma's phone, right? Why does the voice sound different? So I apologize. I'm Emma's mother. It's been a while, John. "Oh, it's you. You should have said so sooner." Anyway, enough chit-chat. Can I speak to Emma? "That's impossible. Emma has passed away." What? What do you mean? This is the result of you abandoning Emma when she went into labor. This is a cruel joke, right? Her funeral will begin shortly. If you have any shred of remorse, you'd come to the funeral home right away. I just informed him of the funeral location and hung up. John tried calling back immediately, but I didn't want the solemn occasion to be ruined by him. So I intentionally didn't answer. The funeral proceeded without a hitch. Emma, it's so tragic that you had to leave your newborn baby behind. I regret not realizing the hardship you endured earlier. I'm so sorry. There's no end to my apologies. Tears flowed as I thought this, and no matter how much I wiped them away, they kept coming. Beside me, my husband tightly pressed his lips, holding back his tears. After the cremation, when I was holding Emma's urn, John and his mother finally showed up. Seeing the mournful expressions of the attendees, they both looked surprised. Strangely enough, John was wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and his mother had on a large straw hat and sunglasses. Seeing them, my husband's restrained anger burst forth. "And what's with those outfits? Can't you even wear proper mourning clothes? You're the ones who told us to rush over, right? We didn't have time." Before arguing, you should sincerely apologize to Emma. However, instead of looking mournful, John just gave a light snicker. Why should I? Honestly, I should be the one demanding an apology. Who's going to handle things at home now? She couldn't even handle giving birth. What are you even saying? How can you be so vile? Just stating the facts. His mother added, "Yes, dear. He's just being honest." Anger blazed inside me, and my fists clenched involuntarily. Anyway, where's the kid? Is it a girl as I thought? Yes, it is. What of it? Damn it. If it were a boy, it would have been my heir. She was really a useless wife. Facing such blatant disrespect in front of us, her parents. I had to use every ounce of strength not to lash out at him. I don't need such a child. You guys can raise her. Even if you hadn't said that, we intended to. Also, you and Emma are already divorced. What? Divorced? Why? While alive, Emma entrusted me with this task, and we submitted a divorce paper to the city office. You've been threatening her with a handwritten divorce paper, haven't you? Emma endured so much, thinking her unborn child needed a father. However, after giving birth, she felt she couldn't protect the child in such an environment and asked me to handle the divorce process. Emma has custody rights. So, the child that was born will be taken care of by us, the grandparents. What? Why did you file for divorce without telling me? But since Emma has passed away, the custody rights should naturally be mine. I'll let you raise the child. but I'll be taking child support from you. Do you even understand what you're saying? Yeah, of course. I'm giving the child to you. You'll take care of her for free, but in return, you'll pay me. What are you even talking about? What do you think a child is? That's awful. Just so you know, we've already applied for guardianship. It's your responsibility to pay child support. What's that? You're so persistent. But Emma had a lot of life insurance. Well, maybe I can pay around $1,000. Hearing John's words, I was at a loss for words. From the way John spoke, it sounded as if he had planned for Emma to die first. Wait, are you implying? Well, everything went according to the plan we had. In the end, Emma was finally of some use to us. You mean, you knowingly abandoned Emma and went on a trip? Well, that's one way to put it. Ha ha ha. I was so shocked by the truth that I almost fainted. But my husband quickly supported me, preventing me from collapsing. My husband, with his shoulders shaking with rage, exclaimed, "I can't believe how cruel the relatives around us," after hearing the truth. Wore confused expressions, and the venue became noisy. When I told my mother-in-law that the baby was a girl, she yelled at me, saying I wanted a boy. What a useless daughter-in-law. My husband also said, "You're a woman who can't do anything. You're useless." It made me very sad, but I think when the baby is born, they will be happy. For now, I just have to endure and persevere. I took out Emma's diary from my bag and began reading its contents. In the scorching midsummer sun, my mother-in-law made me go shopping. Even after returning home, I was immediately made to pull weeds from the garden. Even after that, she kept giving me chores. Even if I cooked dinner, if she didn't like it, she would throw it away and make me redo it. I don't know how to go on anymore. The reason why Emma was so emaciated and weak, despite being in her final month of pregnancy, was detailed in this diary. What? You stole that from our house? Isn't that theft? Also, you intentionally tried to cut off communication with us. My daughter wanted to give birth at her parents' home, but you made her give up, left her alone, and can you imagine how lonely she must have felt? What do I care? That's none of my business. Despite showing no remorse, my husband exploded with anger and shouted, "Enough is enough!" Noticing my husband's anger, John seemed to realize his position. John quickly changed his attitude and began apologizing profusely. All right, I'm sorry. Just let it end." "No, it won't end like this. Your boss knows about what you did to Emma. You'll surely be forced to resign." "What? Why? Why would I be forced to resign?" "Actually, your boss and I went to the same school. Well, it's a small world, isn't it?" "That's not all, John. The neighbors also know about Emma and what happened. When I rushed to Emma's house, the concerned neighbors approached and asked about the situation. I then told them about Emma's passing and the awful treatment she had been subjected to." John, do you realize the gravity of the sins you've committed? You need to atone for the rest of your life. I didn't think it would come to that. Feeling the gravity of the situation, John and his mother sagged. But I had one more important fact to share. Also about Emma's life insurance, I am the beneficiary. What? The beneficiary is UI? John and his mother exchanged surprised glances. While checking Emma's diary, I found a sheet of paper tucked inside. It was a life insurance policy form. Yes, Emma had secretly changed the beneficiary of her life insurance to me, her biological mother. Your plan scheme must have really fallen apart, hasn't it? No way. Is that true? I was counting on that money. Additionally, since you abandoned Emma when she went into labor, we filed a police report for neglecting protective responsibilities. It's clear now that you abandoned Emma to claim the life insurance money. This is serious. What? The police, please. I beg you, spare me this. Please. As soon as they realized the matter was being taken to the police, John and his mother became pale and panicked. They began to bow deeply, almost rubbing their heads on the floor in apology. But my husband and I had no intention of forgiving them. No matter how much you apologize now, I will never forgive you. Regret your sins deeply and experience the torments of hell. While this was going on, a relative had called the police, and a patrol car arrived. John and his mother were taken away by the police, crying and shouting. Those who witnessed it coldly watched the two being taken away. Afterwards, my husband and I hired a lawyer to demand child support from John and his mother. We hope they face severe punishment for leaving Emma in pain and, after torturing her, leading her to death. While we don't know what punishment they'll receive if John and his mother ever return to society, it's certain that John will be fired from his job, and his mother will be the subject of rumors and criticism from neighbors. They'll never return to the peaceful days they once knew. The baby is being taken care of by us, the grandparents. The insurance money left by Emma will be used for the baby's future living expenses. The pain of losing Emma will never go away. But every time the child Emma gives birth to smiles at us, we feel a sense of peace and relief. From now on, we want to entrust the dreams and wishes that Emma couldn't fulfill to this child. And we, as a couple, want to raise her with all the love we can offer.